Right, we are live. Hey guys, how's it going? Welcome back to the Kiwi Lads channel. We are back for another match of Super Rugby Pacific, and this one, it's another New Zealand derby. We've had plenty of them as of late. Looking at the way the table sits, the Hurricanes are sitting there in 7th on 15 points. The Crusaders sitting in 2nd on 24. And it's going to be an interesting game. The Hurricanes have got the home field advantage. They do need a win here if they want to get their season back on track, because that's the thing. They're just outside of the top 6. They've got some very tough matches to come, and I actually was looking through it earlier on this week. I think the Hurricanes probably have one of the hardest draws out of any side in Super Rugby Pacific this year in terms of who they're playing away from home compared to who they've got at home, as well as their matches up against the Aussie sides. Coming off a big win over the Waratahs not too long ago, that will give them confidence. They had a tough New Zealand derby up against the Blues last week, which they were defeated by the 1 point. But another late change. We've had plenty of those throughout these last few matches. It's going to be Zach Gallagher in that number 5 jersey rather than Isaiah Walker-Leawiri, but Delaney does keep a spot in that number 4 jersey. Xavier Numia, Safwa Moore, and Tyrell Lomax will be the front row. Braden Yossi, Duplessis Karefi, and Peter Lakai in the loose forward trio. Cam Roigard alongside Riley Hohepa in the 9-10. Then Peter Umanga Jensen, Balin Sullivan in the midfield. Umanga Jensen bringing up his 50th match alongside Pauri Raketi Stones, Kini Naholo, Natunani Punavai, and Ruben Love at number 15 for the Crusaders. In their starting side, Tamaiti Williams, Moananu, and Fletcher Null. Now, some are saying it may be a little bit early, but of course he is a Crusaders man, and Scott Robertson does have, you could say, a bit of a soft spot for that side. Moana Nu, people are saying, could be an AB's bolter this year. Last year it was George Bell. He hasn't really existed this year, unfortunately, due to injury, so maybe the door could be open there. Scott Barrett at number 4. He's a man who needs some form. He has mentioned it himself. He's just not quite playing his best rugby, and if he wants to get selected once again as that AB skipper, he's going to have to really be stepping up over the next few weeks. Jamie Hanna will be in the number 5 jersey. Cullen Grace, Ethan Blackett, and Christian Leo Willie in the loose forward trio. Hotham and Kamara as the 9-10, with David Harvili and Levi Amua in the midfield. Severis, Che Fiaki, and Will Jordan at number 15. In the chat, we have got their epic top of the table encounter, says David the Mod. And we have got there wrong, the Blues do. Well, you should have expected Kiwi Rob to say that. But yeah, the Hurricanes, it can't be denied in terms of what type of run they have had to have, and also what will be their closing rounds. Of course, they have still got the Fiji and Roa in the future. Is that what they're trying to say? No, sorry, they've got the Crusaders form guide. They just played the Fiji and Roa last week, managed to get themselves that comfortable win. Come on, Canes, we need love at 10, says Wade. Good evening, everyone, says Matthew there, and as also we've got hi Hamish from David the Mod. Hope you are doing well once again. These are the previous matches that we did see last week. The Chiefs managing to get themselves a win over the Reds, 27 points to 15. Moana Pacifica beating the Waratahs. That second half was insane. They were able to come back from what was a relatively large deficit. They did make it look easy, but Crusaders beating the Fijian draw in Fiji. The Hurricanes having a close game up against the Blues and narrowly losing. And then the Western Force getting themselves the win over the Highlanders. And I know that for Highlanders supporters, they were disappointed with that result. They've got a big game happening tomorrow up against the Fijian draw. And watch, it does become a must-win match as well. But both sides just making their way out onto the field. We are not a mile away from the kickoff of this contest. We have there Scott Barrett as our captain. He only got the job, says Kiwi Rob. I mean, to be fair, I think Scott Barrett did pick him. Like, I don't think it was just because of that. I assume there was other reasoning behind it. But I know that a lot of people now this year, after what Ardie Savea has done for Moana Pacifica, they're saying maybe he will take the reins straight back. Let Scott Barrett concentrate just on his locking. We have got evening Hamish and all. Come on, Cruz. Although picking the Canes. Sears, Studs, Rays. Oh. They're just saying there about Ruben Love, how maybe higher honours could be on the cards. Be a great option for New Zealand at number 15, depending on, of course, who is going to be putting their hand up for fullback throughout this year. James Dolman will be the referee in charge. Ardie Savea shouldn't be playing for shouldn't be playing for the Blacks, is the comment from Kiwi Rob. I will give you a chance to reword that, Kiwi Rob, because or else you're going to get yourself in some big trouble there. What's your prediction here, please? I want to see a golden point game, and I think these two sides have the opportunity to deliver it. Pitu Mangajitsin in tears for his 50th match. He's going to score the try in golden point time to win the game for the Canes. There we go. We've never been more specific with a prediction, and we'll probably never be more wrong. But wouldn't it be a great story if it was to take place? Win predictor's pretty close, so it is almost a 50-50 contest. And I all up the Canes, says John. And it will be the Hurricanes kicking this one off from the right to the left. And we are now underway. The Crusaders wearing their black with the red trim this time, rather than the red with the black trim. Noah Hotham inside of the 22. We'll be rolling this one back. His sister recently taken another gold medal in the Black Fern Sevens for Singapore. Has managed to find the touchline. Will be about 40 metres out. Average brilliant, says Ruth. And we have got the Let's Hope referee is on ball. Yeah, it's been a bit of a lottery, to be honest, but it's one of those ones that if we get any sort of free-flowing rugby, I think these two sides are going to cut each other open, which is, in this scenario, it sounds like a terrible thing to have happen, but it's actually good in this case. So you'll have to see how it goes. I think anyone playing for Moana shouldn't be selected for New Zealand All Blacks. But, you know, it's still Super Rugby, isn't it? So it's one of those ones, they're based out of New Zealand. If they were playing every game in Tonga and Samoa, maybe you'd have an argument. But the fact that they're based out of New Zealand, that one's gone way too far there for the kick from the Crusaders. And it means that they'll go right back about 70 metres. Kamara not too happy about it. He got a fair old strike of the ball. Actually, around this time of the overall comp, the Crusaders start kicking in. And yeah, I think that last year, everyone was waiting for that next gear to be found by the Crusaders, and they never quite found it. This year, I mean, they're sitting second at the moment. I think unless something really drastic happens at the end of their season, they're through to the playoff games. And that's a bit of a concern, because that's something that we didn't get to see last year. We didn't see that Crusaders playoff rugby mentality come back in, just because they were ninth. They didn't get the chance to. But Xavier Numia, he will be the starting Lucy prop for the Hurricanes in this game. They've got Pauli Dakity Stones off the bench, bringing up his 50th cap. Pacifica had some talent last week. Fab comeback. Yeah, brilliant work. And they've really become a second half side. But the thing is, they're slowly becoming a first half team too. And if that works and they click, that's going to be danger. 932 kgs as Crusaders scrum does weigh, and they have just got themselves the free kick for a little bit of an early shove from the Hurricanes. To Mighty Williams, passes on the outside to Sevu Reece. Does kick it downfield. A nice easy mark for Ruben Love inside of his own 22. Where's Spider Mick tonight? Says Ruth. And Crusaders are to get a quick try here. Set the tone, says Ruth. And yeah, both of these sides are known for starting quick. Or at least they can be when they're in form. Some would argue that the Hurricanes haven't found their peak this season, whereas the Crusaders are getting very close to it. Anytime I see a Mua and Fiaki and run on side, I think Crusaders are vulnerable, says Thuds Rays. So is that with both of them? I assume you're talking defensively, Thuds Rays maybe. Going to be kicked high from Kamara again. It's going to be dropped inside of the 22 from Riley Hoepa. And in fact, that is a very good kick from the pressure that he put himself under. It will now be the line out for the Crusaders. We have the Crusaders to win, says Chris Hayes, excluding D-Mac. The battle with the All Black 15 between Will Jordan and Ruben Love will be a good battle, says Vaughan. And that's the thing, like McKenzie, I believe they're looking at him as a 10, and I actually think they're doing the same for Bowden Barrett, which does mean, oh, that's a loose ball from the Crusaders backline. Well cleaned up, though, by Sevu Reece. Yep, defence and zero combination, says Thuds Race. But yeah, there's, at the moment, I would say those two that you've mentioned are the front runners, Ruben Love, Will Jordan. Though there could be, you know, you've got a little bit of an argument that maybe positionally they might look at a reshuffle for another side. Give one of those young guys a chance. That's going to be the penalty going the way of the Hurricanes. There was a push off the ball, James Dolman has said. We get hello Hamish, says Blues Rob. Oh, sorry, that was actually Blues Nate, I should say. And welcome to Kiwi Lads, everyone, says Blues Nate, with his 34 months in there as well. We have these Crusaders to win. Pacifica purpose was to bring up Tonga and Samoa up to the All Blacks, not bleed new talent for the All Blacks. Wait, so Pacifica's purpose was to bring up Tonga and Samoa up to the All Blacks, not bleed new talent for the All Blacks. The thing is, though, Ardie Savea is not new talent. And with Ardie Savea in the Moana Pacifica environment, look at what has happened this year. They're doing way better than most people even thought that they would have. The comment near the start of the year that we continued to see was Savea won't make the difference for Moana Pacifica. And, you look at that loose forward trio now and the way he's been able to help those other guys in that trio really find their next level. I feel like it's actually doing more benefit for Pacific Island rugby than if they didn't have Savea in that environment. We have the yellow and Kiwi Robert spot on. Says Demon. We have there a super sticker from Blues, Nate. Thank you very much, mate. Greatly appreciated for your generosity. There is a little knock on there in the breakdown. So it does mean that the scrum will be once again in favour of the Crusaders with Will Jordan in the wing. He's not on the wing for this game. He is at fullback. I've got Fiaki and Reese as the two wingers. Macca Springer, I mean, that man's been scoring tries for fun, but unfortunately does find himself sometimes missing out in this side. Sitting about 30 metres out from the line, Noah Hotham. And that's going to be a free kick now going the way of the Hurricanes. So now we're all equal. One player doesn't bring up the team. But look at Moana Pacifica this year compared to last year and look at the difference. And all you got to do is watch any sort of media interview with Jackson Garden Bishop, with those other guys in the loose forward trio. I think I saw one from Pipisana Patafilo talking about the impact that Savea has already brought to the side just from being there with his leadership. So, like, the players, the coaches, everyone else would disagree with you, but you are used to that, unfortunately, for yourself. Sitting about 15 metres out from the line, do you think Super Reese to score a try? He should have a decent shot, although I do think that these two sides cancel each other out a little bit, so there is a chance that it could be a little bit low scoring for them playing off. As Chiefs going to, the Chiefs are playing tonight up against the Waratahs. I assume that's the question if they're going to win. I think they'll have a decent chance up against this Tar side. They're on a bit of a losing streak at the moment. Conceded around 100 points throughout their last two games, which is certainly far from what they'd like. But 10 phases in for the Hurricanes. They are still within the 22. Nice attack and run forward from Braden Yossi. Back across to the left-hand side, Riley Hohepa. Almost breaking through now, Roigard. Goes off to Peter Larkai, 5 metres out, offloads up to Balin Sullivan, put it on the outside to Naholo, but it goes into touch. How are you, Hamish? I'm doing very well. Excited for this weekend. We got Champions Cup, we got Challenge Cup, we got Super Rugby, no sevens, which is, like, I'd say not a bad thing with the amount of rugby that is happening for this weekend. What's the weather playing conditions like? I believe about 30 kilometres of wind was what we were expecting for this game, and I think there was a bit of a blowing breeze before the match. I'd say it's still in action. It looks like the Hurricanes, once again, are going to turn down 3 points. Spiritually, it has even been a wake-up. Come Eden Park, it will be one in style, says Mr. Orlin. One player can make a massive difference. MJ dragged 1980s Bulls into playoffs every year, says Studs Race. And the best thing is, most of the time, the player who's making the big difference doesn't take all the credit, which is always nice to see when a player's like, nah, it's not me, it's the team. But, having a leadership role in there, nice run from Ruben Love, just bumps off David Harvilli. Again, the Hurricanes only just out from the try line. Roigard short side, goes off to Balin Sullivan, 1 metre again, out from the try line here. Massive chance for the Hurricanes to be able to strike early. Numia, again, just short. Another advantage favour of the Canes. Duplessis Karefi. Roigard goes off to Hohepa. This is massive space. Umaga Jensen goes himself 50 of match and scores the try for the Hurricanes. Gets the first one of the contest. Was there a pre-match haka or no? There was not. Both sides just ran out onto the field and they got straight into business. Peter Umaga Jensen didn't take him very long to get onto the try-scoring sheet. Great pass from Roigard to first of all shift them off to the right-hand side, then almost able to get through, but then needed a good pass. That's what they were able to get. We have there, sevens was amazing from 2005 to 2011. It was golden age of seven, says Demon. Yeah, I feel like the seven circuit at the moment, they've kind of slightly I don't want to say they've ruined it, but they've certainly, by cutting it down to 12 teams and every once in a while having those shortened legs, I feel like a lot of people have lost a bit of interest in it, unfortunately. I think the game is, I see the game has started, just woken up, was up earlier to sort guests out, but eyelids got heavy. Says Bruce. Let's go Crusaders, says Roland, and that kick has gone over now from the Hurricanes, making the score 7-0 after Riley Hohepa was able to convert. Do you think some of the women's sevens putting their hand up for the Black Ferns will hurt us in Los Angeles? Says Kiwi Rob. It's a tricky one because I think Australia will be in the same boat. And, they'll have a few of their team that might look at other roles to be able to play. But I think either way, New Zealand and Australia is such a 50-50 contest that, no matter who's taken from those sides, I think it will still be a competitive contest. And at the end of the day, if you get the opportunity to have a World Cup, it's only every 4 years you get that chance, whereas for the sevens, it's once a year for this big championship league. They've already secured the title for the amount of points, so even if they were to lose, I feel like they'd still be pretty happy with the season outcome. On off to the left-hand side, Hotham. The tackle made on Fletcher Null by Braden Yossi. 2012-16 was good for the Sevens. 2017-21 was meh. And 2022-25 was a bit meh, or has been meh. So it seems like it's gotten worse since we started covering it, which is a bit of the unfortunate timing, isn't it? Hotham goes off now to Ethan Blackadder. I do think it's gotten a little bit more competitive on the men's side, though, in recent times, which has been bringing a little bit more excitement back in. Kicked dead by Reese. They will go back for the original penalty advantage. James Dolman has about a 40-metre run cross field. You're going to do Black Ferns prediction. As in, if I think that they're going to win the World Cup or just in general. Hurricanes starting well, Larkai always a winner, says Roof. All I'm going to say, though, is if I pick them to win, they won't, because I'm terrible at my predictions, as you guys know. Anytime I say a side's going to win, they normally lose badly. So, be careful. I'll say they'll win the World Cup and they'll get knocked out in the group stage. England will win the Women's World Cup this year, not New Zealand, says Demon. Like to see a World Cup or World Rugby Club Championship. I like to see our strongest team versus Northern Hemisphere. They are jockeying for it in about 2020. Was it 2028 that they were going to try it and see whether or not they can get something going for a Club World Cup? It might have even been 2026, but the slight problem that they had was the window that they were looking at hosting it. It was going to be taking place during the international rugby window. That's over the line to Mighty Williams with a rolling maul. And that was a little bit messy there for the Crusaders in the rolling maul, plus a little bit messy for the Hurricanes with their defending. And we have there who's winning tonight. I have said it's going to Golden Point, and I am sticking with it. Because if it is somehow correct, that would be quite incredible. We're going to see it here. Moana Nu just had it at the back, left it for Mighty Williams. Then Roygar was trying to defend up against three Crusaders forwards, and he just had no support from any sort of four-pack. I think it will be France versus England final in the women's. Change my mind, says Demon. That would be a very, very good final. Now, Taha Kamara has missed it away to the side. This is actually an interesting battle because Kamara and Riley Hohepa have both been known this season as the guys who have quite a few miss kicks. To Mighty Williams scoring the first try of the match for the Crusaders. Black Ferns weren't fit last year and a few old selections, very unknown, says Studs Race. And that's the thing, going into the Northern Hemisphere, like you said, last time they headed up there, it didn't look the best. Of course, for a World Cup, they are the defending champs, so they're going to try and really put everything into it. But it's a tricky one. Sometimes that big trip up north can make the difference. Having the experience of some of those sevens girls in there, though, might actually help quite a bit because, they're used to those time zones, used to playing all around the world. Whereas the Black Ferns don't get that many shots to be able to do it. Nice tackle made. Went off to the right-hand side here, almost moving up to the halfway line for Christian Leo Willie. And I'm eating caramel chocolate wafers for breakfast. That sounds like something you wouldn't have for breakfast, but probably very nice. Thank you, Hamish. Don't predict who will win. Already lost lots taking your predictions. Always a pleasure listening to your commentating. Yeah, I've always said it from the start. Do not bet any sort of funds, even 10 cents I wouldn't put on anything I predict. That's going to be close to a turnover there in the breakdown from Braden Yossi. It's a good breakaway run from the Crusaders, but stolen straight back now. Roygaard kicking down the back. There is no one back there, and he does manage to get it into touch. I see that terrible kick, says David the Mod. You have to remember our girls will be fit. I'd assume that most of the other teams would be too, though, for the World Cup. But, yeah, it will be interesting to see just how good teams can start. Because I know that last Women's World Cup, we saw some teams were a little bit slow getting going. But once they did, you know, there were some real contenders in there. And squads are going to be completely different to what we saw last one. That's going to be nicely taken by Riley Hohepa. Tackled low by Cullen Grace. Didn't play in the last match for the Crusaders in Fiji. Now Leo Willie goes back across to David Harvilli. Finds Will Jordan. Going to run round the outside. Good tackle made by Peter Umang and Jensen Reese. Keeping the ball in the field of play. Jamie Hannes had his shirt ripped off him. Hotham across to Tamaiti Williams. Kamara, good attack and run here. Here comes Scott Barrett. Offload to Moananu. And he scored it between the posts, but had a slight little fumble there after getting the grounding. Nah, man, tonight your pick is on, says Mr. Orland. I have to send Front Row Rugby a link about Kiwi Lads soon. He wants me to, he said, says Bruce. And great pass from Scott, says Sam. England doesn't have any warm-up matches, says Kiwi Rob, and who's higher on the table, says Katzenell. So the Crusaders currently find themselves sitting in second. The Hurricanes are sitting in seventh. And good try for you, Hammy, says Mr. Orlin. Hamish, who do you want to win? With a whole heap of question marks from Albert. He's really gone for it. That would make you think that he's asked it already, but I look back through the chat and he hasn't. So Albert's just in a slapping mood, it would seem. Well, I've gone Golden Point. I want to see a Golden Point game, and we've been close to it multiple times. So once again, we're still sticking with the Golden Point prediction. And that man in black shirt says Studs Rays. I honestly don't think he'll be a mile off, because I think that they'll look at probably, you've got Amua, you've got Cody Taylor, Tolkiaho. Those are the three obvious guys that they'll be looking at, injury and form dependent. But I don't see George Bell getting that call up again, just because unfortunately he hasn't played enough rugby due to his injury. But Moananu, he's been pretty handy this season, and like we saw last year, seemed like a crazy pick to say George Bell might be a bolter, but in the Crusaders environment, Hotham as well, you can find yourself getting the selection. How you doing, the Chiefs Waratahs tonight? We certainly are. One will be starting in 2 hours and 5 minutes time. Line out throw now for Safwa Moore. Looks like a bit of a miscommunication there. For the Hurricanes. Our line out time. What is a golden point? See how everything here. Golden point means it's a draw at full time, and then they play a bit of extra time, I think is the best way of describing it. Going back across to the right-hand side, Braden Yossi. Just about 40 metres out from the line. Looks like Roygaard will be kicking high. I love from the back of my house. Go the Kane, says Drape. And that's going to be nicely taken by Roygaard. He's actually regained his own kick after kicking it up. Pretty much landed exactly where he kicked it. And then he kicked it again. Will Jordan now put in a high kick into the 22. Nicely taken by Riley Hohepa. Come on the Crusaders. Says Hensel. Now, chance here. Nicely taken by Kamara. Sever Reese chasing after this one. Oh, Kitty Naholo really misreading that one. Well cleaned up, though, by Ruben Love. At that composure at the back. Roygaard getting swarmed now by Crusaders players. And we'll have to look to clear this one relatively soon, I would think. How many games do you think we need win to make the top 6? We need... So I assume you're saying the Blues, because you've said we. So at the moment, they've got 2 wins on their resume. I want to say, with how it's sitting at the moment, they probably need 6 or 7 wins just to be safe. Maybe it's even 7 or 8. Now, when you look at the sides and who's still got to play who, I do think that the Blues will need probably a 3-match winning streak at one point throughout the rest of the season, and then maybe have another 2 wins or 3 wins on top of that, just to really make sure that they are through. Because, the more times that the likes of the Chiefs or the Crusaders, if they are going to stay near the top of the bunch, the more wins that they get, that actually benefits the sides who are outside of the top 6 at the moment, because it gives you a little bit of a chance to catch up, unless, of course, it's up against the sides outside of the top 6. We is me, says Mr. Orlin. Crusaders against his roof, they certainly are, currently sitting 12 points to 7, although the Hurricanes looking to fire straight back with Braden Yossi on the outside. Good pace shown by the Hurricanes, number 6, tackled by Havili. Look at my Blues, we're doing fantastic. I'm looking forward to next week's game more than Moana, says Kiwi Rob. Do you think it will be a comfortable win up against Moana Pacifica though, Kiwi Rob? Now, nice run forward from Duplessis Karefi. 15 metres out. The Hurricanes have done really well hanging on to the ball this game. In terms of just phase play, although I think they almost just lost that one in the breakdown. Back across, Braden Yossi tries to go through. Karefi. Oh, good shot. Coming in, getting driven backwards. Christian Leo Willie looking for the turnover, but he was in off his feet. But Dave to give the penalty to the Canes. About 15 metres out. Losing a golden shower. Golden point G, says TH. Looking at our team that was announced, says Kiwi Rob. And I think Mark Dillier will go overseas at the end of this year. Caleb for the Highlanders, Kenina Holo, Kieran Tamafalau will be the wingers for the next year for New Zealand. Watch out for Stanley Solomon, says Demon. Yeah, he's going to... I think he's in the under-20s New Zealand side, isn't he, for the upcoming Rugby Championship comp that has taken place. He's an interesting one. Very talented player, although I remember from the Rugby Championship, he can be a little bit, I don't want to say selfish, but there were some times where he blew easy try opportunities because he wanted the glory. And I feel like that just comes with the fact that he's quite young. And when you are a talented youngster, sometimes you do think you can beat a whole side by yourself. But, give him a couple more years and he'll be right up there, I think. Riley Hohepa, it looks like the Hurricanes are going to take on the 3 points now rather than going for the 7. Oh, he almost missed that Riley Hohepa from straight out in front of the post, but it will make the score now 12 points to 10. Are you thinking about doing the Under-20s Rugby Championship and the Under-20 Championships? I am hoping to. It depends a little bit on, once again, what games are taking place when and whether or not there's overlaps with other competitions. But if we can find a chance of doing it, I will try my best to do so. But yeah, it just depends on what games overlap with it. Moana should be regular winners. They're good enough, says Sam. And the thing is, this year they've become almost, you could say, regular winners. They've beaten the Crusaders. They've beaten the Hurricanes. They had a competitive enough game, you could say, with the Chiefs. Yes, they were beaten by about 15, but scoring 35, I think, is almost the most anyone has scored up against the Chiefs this year. I passed on the outside to Moananu. And then also, we just heard someone say F sakes, so someone's not happy in that breakdown. And well done, Riley Hohepa, says John. Looks like Kamara has stayed down with some sort of injury here. All right, referee James Dolman saying to the Crusaders, you're slowing your own ball down. Riley Higgins is going to be great, and Anton Brown and Quinn will be fighting over that 13-shot shirt for the next few years. Rico is done. The Kane Centre will be fighting for it too. So Kane Centre, you're saying Umaga Jensen or Balin Sullivan out of those two? Yeah, Kamara doesn't look too flash at the moment. Hoping Q lads will be commentating more Bay of Plenty games this year, says David the Mod. Yeah, we didn't really get much of a shot doing the Bunnings NBC last year. I think we maybe, I could be wrong, but I think we only did a couple games, if not less than that. Yeah, big shot on Will Jordan by Natunani Punivai as well as Asafa Moore. 29th of June to the 19th of July for the Under-20s Championship. Yeah, so that will overlap with in fact, it will overlap with quite a bit of the international rugby taking place. Although I think is it same time zone as some of the games or different time zone? Because if it's different time zone, that might actually help. Sullivan says Demon. Munga Jensen over Sullivan says Sam. It's in Italy, so yeah, that might help us a little bit, but yeah, it just depends on how many international games are all taking place, plus whereabouts certain sides are playing. Looks like George Bauer's actually making his way onto the field already here. Now that is for Fletcher Null. So I assume Tamaiti Williams is actually going to transfer from loose head to tight head now. Now line out throw for Moana Nu. Why not have the Under-20s Rugby Championship be openers for their senior teams? Could be a great day out experience for players and fans, says Hensel. Actually, it's a pretty good idea, Hensel. I don't really know why they don't do that, because some locations that we've seen for Super Rugby, we've seen that they play the women's game first and then they go into the men's match. I guess it's maybe to stop people from paying for an under-20s ticket and staying for the big match. But if you made it like a combined thing, but if you make it combined, then I guess the under-20s would lose out a little bit. Oh, that was almost a deliberate knockdown from Braden Yossi. A good shove off from David Harville. Goes on the outside to Cullen Grace. A hard by Xavier Numi around the halfway line. 25 minutes in at the moment and only 2 points separating these two sides. And that one has gone into touch. Not tomorrow though, Hamish. I assume you're saying for the women's final, isn't it? It's a good, or was it a good kick? Or did it touch the touch line? It might not be out, according to the touch judge. I don't think he was quite in position to see that one, but we will play on for now. Nice attack and run from Will Jordan. Passes on the outside to Blackett. He was shaping to kick, but instead goes to Moananu on the outside. Levi Moore somehow kept the ball alive. It's knocked on by the Canes and up to the halfway line. This is just brilliant play from the Crusaders, keeping the ball alive. Although it's stolen now in the breakdown from the Canes. Roygaard goes back to Riley Hohepe. He will go for a 50-22 of his own, and he does get it. That is quite a passage of play that we've just seen, ladies and gents. Crusaders having some brilliant offloads, keeping the ball well and truly alive, and then the Hurricanes get the turnover in the breakdown, kick a 50-22, and now they're on attack. Is there a lot of games tomorrow and Sunday? Yes. I believe tomorrow we are going to be doing 5 matches back to back to back to back to back. So about probably 11 or 12 hours of commentary with like little tiny gaps in between. We're doing the 3 games of Super Rugby. Then after that, I'm going to be doing the Bulls versus Edinburgh match. And then after that, Munster versus Bordeaux. Giving the ball alive is what's missing from the ABs and Saders. Bringing that back nicely, says Sam. It's Harvey playing. He is indeed in the number 12 jersey for this match. Going to be overthrown. Oh, kick attempt by Moananu, almost getting his team into more trouble. David Harvey having to clean up that ball just out from his own goal line. Thought about the offload. Eventually is going to be dragged down. We have got there France versus Wales tomorrow, says Mohadeen. I assume that's the women's Six Nations that you are talking about, Mohadeen. It's going to be a kick towards the touchline from Noah Hotham. Didn't have a massive angle to work with, but just needed to clear that ball. A lot of pressure coming in there, though, from the Hurricanes. James O'Connor, he has made his way onto the field for Taha Kamara, who has gone off with the injury. You can get away with a 7-1 split in international rugby because it's a much slower game and you're allowed to fake injuries and kill the clock. There's the Sporting Kiwi. So now it's the big question of who's going to do the 8-0 first. I think someone's leading the betting odds. How's it, Hamish? Have an awesome weekend ahead. Says Anthony, thank you very much. It's a bit of a shame that we've only got one South African side in action, being the Bulls up against Edinburgh. So it's kind of like a match in the URC, but for the Challenge Cup. Hopefully they go all right. Duplessis Krefi. Tackle well, a little bit of a counter-up coming from Christian Leo Willie Delaney. Gets it away now to Zach Gallagher. He was the late inclusion placing Isaiah Walker Leowiri. Are you sponsored by Pump? I am not, no. That's just the bottle that I've got. Nice run from Karefi. Unable to get through Christian Leo Willie, though. Pick and go from Kini Naholo. Is it only the top 6 going through to knockouts or the top 8 like normal? It is the top 6 for this competition. So, yeah, no one's really safe when you look at that kind of 4, 5, 6 positioning. So, with a couple bad weeks, you could find yourself outside of the playoffs. Josh Jacob looks good. He's another young player that I think could have a little bit of a shot. If it's not for the All Blacks, New Zealand XV, I think we'd happily have him. That's going to be another penalty going the way of the Crusaders in the breakdown. It is Moana Nu again. I mean, at the start of this match, we said about him being a possible bolter, and he's gone out here and he's had one of his, I would say, best games of the season, and we're only 28 minutes in. What's your opinion on the Anzac Test between All Blacks and an Australian team? Says Kiwi Rob. I mean, I know that the one in Rugby League seems to do quite well. So I'd assume that Rugby Union, it wouldn't be any different in that regard. That's going to be a nice kick from James O'Connor and towards the halfway line. If I ever ran a 7-1, it'd be in the under-20, says Mr. Orlin. Under-20 not a real indication of New Zealand schoolboy rugby. Only the elite schools get their players picked, not the real reflection of our real talent. Hence why Kelston beat South Africa best team last year, says Drape. Who scored first? First try was scored by Peter Umaga Jensen. First try for the Crusaders was scored by Tamaiti Williams, but it was second. Now another rolling maul. It's not shaping up too badly here for the Crusaders. It seems to be one of their best moves. There's going to be the advantage going in favour of the Crusaders. And also Aussie under-20 versus Japan under-23. Says Blues, no. There more games tomorrow and Sunday. Not is. There more games. Says Bruce. I mean, we've all had our fair share of spelling mistakes, haven't we, Bruce? Sometimes autocorrect does get the better of you. Has been turned down to Super Rugby by New Zealand Rugby. Says Kiwi Rob. So I guess that's probably because they want to keep the New Zealand versus Australia ones in regards of, another injury. David Havili going off. Macca Springer going on. Now, Havili already had a very heavily strapped wrist. What a run that is from James O'Connor. Scores between the posts. That was a massive mistake from the Hurricanes and a massive bonus for the Crusaders here. We can stream for free. Sadly, not a lot of free options for Super Rugby unless you get a Stan Sport free trial and then cancel it. But then that only lasts, I believe, 7 days. Oh man, JOC says Suds Rays. Yeah, overthrown by the Hurricanes and then James O'Connor. Bad missed tackle there from Cam Roigard. It's a good fend on him though, James O'Connor. Nice try from O'Connor, says Matthew. 7-1 is okay. Teams take big risk with it. The French in the box. They have been lucky that they have a forward that can slide into the back line. That type of athlete become more important going forward, says Enzel. Can you please explain the knockouts if only 6 teams go through? Honestly, not really. It's a bit of a confusing one, but if I'm correct, I believe it is top 2 get a bye through to the semi-finals, then 3 plays 6, 4 plays 5, and then whoever wins those games, I believe, plays the top 2 in the semis. I could be wrong, though. At least that's the way that I think it works. Unless they've got, like, some sort of... Well, see, they've got those 3. It's a weird one. Because, actually, Rugby 25, I believe, had it that whoever's the highest ranked loser also goes through. I think it was. So it's kind of like a lifeline for a side, so they get another chance. So there's actually, I believe, 3 playoff games, and then, yeah, someone gets a lifeline and gets to play again the next week. Is that correct, ladies and gents? I think that's how it's been described. It's quite a interesting setup, though. James O'Connor, All Blacks bolter. He's eligible in August. I never thought I'd see James O'Connor back playing again. So here's Bruce. Now good run forward from the Hurricanes. A nice pop pass from Safwa Moore to Peter Umaga Jensen. Yeah, something about losing a playoff 1 versus 6, 2 versus 5, 3rd versus 4th, top 2 ranked winners host semis, highest ranked loser plays again. Yeah, so it's kind of like a lifeline, isn't it, for someone. So theoretically, 1 and 2 could both lose, but one would get the chance to go back through, wouldn't they? You'd be sitting there in second, you'd be not very happy because you lost, but also not very happy because you'd be knocked out of the comp. The Springboks playing this weekend? They are not, no. Not for another few months. Nice change of direction there, kicking towards the sideline, and it does go out. Nice kick from Riley. However, game score says Enzo at the moment. The scoreboard is asleep, but score is 19 points to 10 after James O'Connor was able to score it. Crusaders have got themselves the line out, sitting about 20, maybe a bit closer, 15 metres out from their line. They've already had to make 3 changes, all, I believe, due to injury. Bauer is on for Fletcher Null. O'Connor is on for Kamara, and then David Arvili is off. Macca Springer made his way on too. Nicely taken by Jamie Hanna. Now Hotham trying to find his way through. Oh, that was a big bit of contact on the head of a Suffolk Moore. 7-1 splits work great in Europe on slow fields. But I think we won't see a lot of that in 2027 Oz World Cup. Says Albert. Being told to use it again. Noah Hotham. Be rolling this ball back. Being protected by George Bauer. Kicked high. Nicely taken at the back from Riley Hoepa. Off to the left here for Roygaard. Nice pass from Ruben Love. Naholo trying to find his way through. Is Love hurt? Not that I know of. He just touched the ball there for the Hurricanes. Bounce pass. Looks for the offload. Nicely kicked forward from Peter Lakai, but I believe pass itself drifted forward initially. 7-1 works great with red cards. What do you think of Hofer maybes again? It's a tricky one because I think it heavily depends on whether or not you, because don't get me wrong, he's been a good player. I think that if you're looking at the Crusaders near the start of the season, I mean, we saw that Kyle Preston week and everyone started saying he would be the bolter, but I just don't know if he's had enough time out there on the field. So you probably go Roygaard. I don't know if they'll go Christie. And I don't know whether or not they'd go... They might look at Cortez Ratamo. Although I do think Xavier Road probably deserves a bit of an honourable shout. So either way, you're going to look at probably some young halfbacks in the side. Because there's no TJ, no Brad Weber, no Aaron Smith, all those guys who are of the yesteryear. Fakatava, I see that he is back for the Highlanders this weekend, so maybe even he puts his name into that. Wash your mouth for saying Christie, says TH. I mean, I'm just basing it off what they went with last year, and Christie did find himself in that environment, even though it was for a relatively short time. I pass it on the right-hand side, Levi Amor. I find his way through. Great tackle again, made by Braden Yossi. Off to the left, Hotham, pop pass from Bauer, O'Connor. Goes to Will Jordan, thought about the inside ball to Che Fiaki. Never quite managed to get it away. I go the Hurricane, sees him. A big shot on Bauer. Seen a lot of the loose forward trio at the moment for the Hurricanes throughout this first 36 minutes. Nice step from James O'Connor, almost managed to get the pass away. Very concentrated attack at the moment from the Crusaders, just focusing on the passes. That was a massive shot on Scott Bauer. Gets it across to Chefiaki. That was just gone behind. Now Levi Moore chips it in behind. Nice pace shown. Sits up for him. Tried to find his offload. Well tackled by Ruben Love, though, at the back. And that's something we've seen quite a bit from the Crusaders already in this game. The willingness to offload. Try and find that next man in space. Keep that ball alive. Good clean out in the breakdown. Scott Barrett now goes short side to Fiaki, who will score it in the corner. And it is another try for the Crusaders. Their fourth now of the contest, which actually puts them in a position of a bonus point. Draw going to win against the Blues, hopefully. Says, hey. I only wonder what for Seanan Christie. He's my pick in the jersey for some strange reason after just watching rugby again. I think the thing with Christie, he's always, in terms of even when the Blues weren't able to get titles under their belt, right, they were still a very strong four-pack, and I think that one of the criticisms of Christie was just how quickly he got that ball out in scenarios with a slightly weaker four-pack when it came to facing physical sides. Fiaki proved me wrong all day long. Says Studs Ray, and second half Hurricanes time, fingers crossed. Kind of turning the Crusaders season around, lol. Says Albert, that one has gone away to the side. Going to make the score 37 and a half minutes in, 24 points to 10. Don't think I've seen the depth of New Zealand rugby in key positions. Being this low, lock and fly half, really need young lads step up and make a name. Says Hensel. Do you do a tribe, or do the tribe commentary? I was thinking today, they must be done via voice subtitles, not someone typing it out, says Ryan. I'm not actually sure how they do it. I think they might have guys who actually type it, but yeah, I definitely can't type that quick. I can probably talk as quick as they type, but you know, like they write some novels in amongst those messages, and I'm definitely not quick enough to be able to do that. I seen those talks where recycle is slow, but there has to be a reason, says Mr. All-In. That's going to be knocked backwards by Riley Hoihepa, but it goes to Fiaki. Oh, what's up with Scott Barry? He's sitting on his back at the moment, and he's having a chat with the touch judge. I think he was trying to say maybe there was a bit of foul play. That's why must be such quick typers. Yeah, absolute novel, says Ryan. It's always interesting, even just for the cricket, how they pretty much do the play-by-play through typing. Just what each ball did and in-depth descriptions. Hurricanes are like my favourite. Club heart attack, says Rape, and Roygaard needs to lift, says Ryan. Yeah, he's going to need a big second half, another penalty. Oh, bit of push and shove there. Blackadder not happy. I think it's Ruben Love on the ground, is it? Or is it Zach Gallagher? Either way, someone was trying to fire up Ethan Blackadder. It was Gallagher up against his old teammate. Okay, Braden Yossi just went, what? The referee said the pillar was offside and never readjusted, which is a very fancy way of saying an offside situation. Roygaard is doing well, given the key. Says Mr. All-In, and New Zealand Rugby need to raise generals at 10. Now everyone is a decision maker, so we undermined 10 development. Says Studs Ray, although, you know, there are a few decent guys in the rankings. Like, I don't, this is going to sound harsh, but I don't think Kamara or Hohepa are going to be All Blacks 10s. You know, as good as they can be, I think that their accuracy off the kicking tee does hurt them quite a bit. I think that someone like a Josh Jacobs certainly has that attacking style that they might be looking at in the future. Someone like a Cam Miller as well. Oh, ball's fallen off the tee. Looks like Christian Leo Willie. 15 seconds remaining for Fiaki, so doesn't have to rush it, but he decides to anyway. Oh no, that ball got caught by the wind. Got nowhere near the post, so they'll make the halftime score 24 points to 10 in favour of the away side, the Crusaders. Joey Manu might return to Sydney Roosters, not confirmed yet, says Blues Nate. And go Crusaders, says Ange. And also, that's Roygaard. Oh, that's good, Roygaard's on, says Sam. What's your fantasy league if you have one? I do not, just because I'm terrible at predictions. Josh Jacob and Harry Godfrey are the next best right now. Yeah, Godfrey also does seem like he's got quite a lot of potential. He's one of those guys that really didn't get huge amount of time last year, but this year they seem to do well. At least up until his injury, they were willing to give him a bit of a shot. Do not lie down, yellow. Says Shane. I wonder if James O'Connor is eligible to play for the Wallabies this year. Now he's back in Super Rugby, even though he doesn't play for an Aussie side. I believe he is. But he also becomes eligible for the All Blacks in August, from what someone said earlier on. I believe it was August anyway, so that makes it a bit interesting, doesn't it? If Scott Robertson goes, you know what? Stick him in an AB's kit. Hamish doesn't follow MotoGP, but for some of the others, there's 2 races this weekend. Martin is back. Good old Martin, eh? Halftime Moribar suffering from shrinkflation. Says Thuds Race. They actually did drop the grams of a Moro, didn't they? I think they went from 50 to 40 or maybe it was 60 to 50, but they did shrink them. They chopped the end off one side, which was a massive shame. I was number 5 yellow. That is Zach Gallagher, so ex-Crusaders player, getting into it a little bit with Ethan Blackadder. Guess I wouldn't be surprised if Razor picked him, says the Sporting Kiwi. And also, who said Manu to the Chiefs? Says Drake there, and Crusaders playing very well. Yeah, they've had a strong first half. They have had their fair share of attacking moments from the Canes that they've had to defend. And for the Hurricanes to only have 1 try at this point, I'd say that they'll be relatively happy defensively, that is, the Crusaders. These are the benches. The main concern, I would say, for the Crusaders at the moment would be the injury number. They've already put Bauer out onto the field for Fletcher Null. They've already put James O'Connor onto the field for Kamara, and then they've also put Macca Springer onto the field for David Harvilli, who, coming into this match, already had a very heavily strapped wrist. And, I would say that it's probably not 100%. They have decided to take him off. For the Hurricanes, Brad Shields, experienced veteran there, a man from the Sevens, and Fihi Finia Norfo. Then also Polridakity Stones, he will be bringing up his 50th cap when he does make his way onto the field alongside his teammate Pitu Munga Jensen, who managed to score the first and only try that we have seen from the Hurricanes. These are next week's fixtures as well, ladies and gents. Pronounced Martin, says Bruce. Did the Crusaders score first? They did not know. It was first try of the match, scored by Peter Umunga Jensen. Why don't the All Blacks or Highlanders play in Queenstown? Missed opportunity, I say. Highlanders, I believe, played one of their warm-up games a couple years ago for Super Rugby Aotearoa in Queenstown, and maybe even last year as well. But in terms of just, I guess, capacity for an All Blacks game, I think that's why they haven't really tried them. Manu must be receiving the damage instead of doing in Japan, says Sam. RTS struggled to cement a spot in the AB's return to NRL. Crusaders bench looks deep, says Studs Rays, and great first half for the Crusaders, says Matthew. And also RTS is a winger in Union, says Mr. Orlin. Lag, or is it me, says Tanner. Lag, or is it me? Did Tanner just lag by saying there was lag? Too many centres in New Zealand rugby right now, need to start playing in Bunnings EBC, says Blues Nate. Yeah, just showing the matches that are taking place tomorrow as well. The Blues versus Moana Pacifica being one. Alongside that, we do get to see the contest taking place between the Fijian Roar and the Highlanders. That is happening down in Dunedin. And then also, there's Reds versus Brumbies, Champions Cup quarterfinals, Challenge Cup quarterfinals too. We've got a few more matches. Queenstown Event Centre, 19k capacity. So how does that compare to somewhere like an FMG, for instance? How many can that have? Did you hear the Panthers have lost 5 games in a row? I did. Bit of an interesting one for them. Definitely with how much they lost up against the Dolphins by. Right, we're about to see a man race the Colonel. We didn't get to see it last week, I believe it was. It's going to be a big opportunity to win $500 worth of KFC. Catch the Colonel. Here he goes. How quick's the Colonel going to be today? Oh, the Colonel's quick, but then the Colonel always slows down. Oh, the Colonel gave up. Colonel gave up big time. Good on Footy Finn. And also we have got there, we need Mwongi. He found his feet in the international arena in the last World Cup, late bloomer to the Test arena. WF, the Colonel threw that one. Yeah, the Colonel didn't try, did he? He kind of gave up halfway through. He was like, I need to give away some more chicken. But yeah, it's interesting with Mwonga, isn't it? Because I want to say it was only maybe, I'd say 4 years might be a bit far, but, there was a time where people were heavily against Richie Mwonga as an All Blacks. And they said he's not international calibre. And now he's the guy that everyone's begging to get back. And it's a little bit similar to, the likes of a Jesse Creel for the South Africans. How there was a time where people were pretty much saying, get rid of him. He's not going to be good enough. And then he just proved absolutely everybody wrong. But it's a tricky one. Because, you know, you get told by a lot of people you're not good enough, so you go overseas and you take the big money because you say, well, this is the ideal scenario. If they don't want me, I can make money. And then everyone wants you back, and you go, well, I'm caught in a mixed emotion here because all of a sudden I'm in hot demand when before no one cared. The Jesse Girl's story is so cool, so happy for him, says Suds Race. Any sevens this weekend, mate? No sevens until early May. Richie Moore will be great under Scott New Zealand Needham, says Demon. And how you doing, mate? Says BDB. Doing extremely well. Excited for the weekend. A lot of rugby will be taking place, 25,800. Okay, so about an extra 8,000 on top of Queenstown. The Crusaders seem to be simply back. I'm very surprised that the TAB had Hurricanes as favourites. Who's everyone's Razor Ray? Yes, it's going to be epic, says Birdie V. We're seeing quite an even amount of kicking meters between these two sides. In fact, the Hurricanes have made more kicking meters from less kicks. Bit of an interesting one there. Territory is 66% in favour of the Hurricanes. Possession is 53% in favour of the Crusaders. We've seen 14 missed tackles from the Hurricanes, attempting 78 or making 78. There's a lot of fireworks going off at Sky Stadium at the moment. Like a lot. They've been doing them pretty much throughout this whole halftime break. I don't know whether or not New Zealand Rugby have the budget to be doing this many fireworks each and every week, but oh no, there we go. Fireworks has just ended. Budget went overboard. Oh, we have there Richie just did not suit Ian's style of planning his tactics, says Demon, and Bulls got a big game coming up. The France vs All Blacks game at FMG is pretty much sold out. MCG capacity 80k to 90k. Should I bet the house on the Crusaders right now? Probably not, Adrian. Would they hold that lead to full time? Surely they're not paying any decent money, though, if they're leading by this amount. At the moment, Crusaders 1 to 12 is paying $2.15. They've just said by John R. Fuller. Okay, we could help out, says Mr. Orland. And also, I'll be really disappointed if Razor, or in Razor, if Geordie and Rico are the midfield. I reckon he was a late bloomer. He finally came right in the Rugby World Cup. Unfortunately, he left the very next year. Oh, yeah, they don't worry. John R. Fuller getting people gambling for New Zealand Rugby to earn some more dollars. And good to see Will Jordan is actually playing in this game. Says Jason, he is indeed. He's had some good moments already for the Crusaders. That's a good UFC fight card as well, I should mention, happening Sunday 2 p.m. Is that the main card at 2 p.m. or is that just like prelims as well? We're going to have a quick look. Main card, okay, so the main card starts at 2 p.m. Volkanovski versus Lopez, Chandler, Pimlet, Rodriguez versus Patricio Pitbull. When you have a last name like Pitbull, you'd assume you'd be all right. Mitchell's on the card, Dominic Reyes. Might have to give it a look. France had their best players going to New Zealand this year. They will win one game, but not the series, says Demon. The thing is, though, if New Zealand don't play well, France's young side could still win one of the games. Because that's the thing, like, this young French side, when they're playing well, like, of course it will depend on who's made it through to the later stages of the top 14 and who's eligible for that French team. But they're a handy enough side. Even a French B team will give most international sides a bit of a run for their money. 5 weeks for the run out. When they left the cup, no budget for this continuous stuff, says Shane. You're like, I'll be honest, I don't think anyone, I could be wrong, maybe there are fireworks enthusiasts in Wellington, but I don't think anyone would have cared any differently if there weren't fireworks at halftime. You know, if they had just, you know, had some music playing and whatnot. Have a bloke in like an inflatable suit run from one end to the other. I have 2 people have a race. That's much cheaper and, you know, probably more entertaining. That's a decent card compared to the recent one, says Fleshin. Although I always get concerned when it's a good card. Although, like you said, that card the other week was not great. Unfortunately, how's the golf? The golf needs work. I've hardly played over the last about 6 months. I probably only had maybe 3 or 4 short stints. Are you watching in top 14? All the teams are good when they play at home. I haven't been able to watch too much, mainly because they don't show it in New Zealand anymore. They used to show it on Sky, but then they lost the licenses. So it means that we only really get to see them play during the Champions and Challenge Cup. And in fact, even the Challenge Cup, only certain games being shown on Sky. So it makes it quite hard to follow each and every week. Pre-match, the odds had Hurricanes favourites at $1.65. Crusaders, $2.15. Okay, so a little bit favour of the home side. That's the thing, though. It's an interesting one, like you said, because they did lose last week, the Hurricanes, and the Crusaders did win their game in Fiji. So you would think that they'd have that little bit more momentum heading into it. They're okay with fireworks, yet banned cowbells for the Wellington versus Waikato semi-final. There's the Sporting Kiwi. Orange is all we needed, says Shane. It's a cake tin. Goes well with fireworks, says TH. And I might go 1-1 and a red in the third game. All Blacks winning first game convincingly. Was at the Irish series, says Mr. Orlin. And also we have got all good up here, mate. You, says Fleshin. So, of course, plenty more international, or not international, sorry, but across hemisphere rugby taking place in the north. You're going to get to see the Champions and Challenge Cup. I believe at the moment the plan is to cover 4 games of the Champions/Challenge Cup. It will be 3 Champions Cup, 1 Challenge Cup for the weekend. So the original plan is to do 9 games for this weekend of rugby union. Probably about 20 hours of talking, which is good fun till you say it like that. But second half not a mile away from the start of this one. Super Rugby Pacific. This is round 9. We are already in. Got plenty more action coming in the near future. So I send 2K on the rest of this game. Crusaders and next Chiefs to win. Neutral Rugby gambling, says Adrian. Well, I would definitely recommend not gambling on Super Rugby, because it is literally what it says in the name, a gamble. Because anything can happen Super Rugby wise. I mean, we've seen sides that were $18 underdogs win games by a comfortable margin this year. So, yeah, we've seen the defending champions currently sitting in second last as well. So, like, that just tells you the unpredictability of this comp. How many rounds left, says Ruslin. So, most sides still have around, I believe it's 5 more games, or 6 games, in fact, it might be. So, for the Hurricanes, they have got the Force, the Brumbies, the Chiefs, the Highlanders, the Reds, and then Moana Pacific. And now you will notice there they've got a couple tough games away from home. In fact, I think the only home game they've got up against Australian sides is actually the Waratahs. They've got the Force away, they've got the Brumbies away, and they've got the Reds away for the Canes. Yeah, 50 days away from, I believe that would be the final round. And then the week after that, we're into those playoff matches that we did speak of earlier on. In terms of the Crusaders, they have got the Blues next week, the Highlanders, the Chiefs, the Waratahs, the Highlanders, and then the Brumbies. So they play the Highlanders twice within pretty much a month period. Both sides made their way back out onto the field. The Hurricanes have gone with 0 changes for the start of the second half. Right, Kamara is back on the field, which means James O'Connor goes off and Fletcher Null is back on, so that gets rid of George Bauer. And we have got there the All Blacks should play a B team, beat the French B team just to make a point. We were beating them last year until Cortez came on, says the Sporting Kiwi. But also, in that scenario, what happens if New Zealand put out a B side, France put out a B side, and France beat them? Then France get huge boosts in the world rankings. And like in New Zealand's case, the only way that they can do it is put out a strong team and beat them badly in the 2 matches, so that kind of hurts France and at least makes them go, okay, well, that wasn't the best idea. But like, yeah, I don't think they can afford to go with too much of a lighter side, or else France could get them. And Damrose, says Adrian. And we have got there finally, says Tano2. Yeah, it was a relatively long halftime break. They probably had to wait for all the smoke from the fireworks to clear before they could get underway. But we've already got ourselves a scrum. That is something we had a real lack of in that first half. I think we saw 2 in the first 10 minutes. fact, this might be the first scrum that I can think of since about the 8th minute of the match. Crusaders not clinical so far. I mean, they've scored 4 tries in 40 minutes. It's not awful, it could be worse. Hopefully Canes come back at the Crusaders, says John. Now ready to feed this ball in again here, Cam Roigard. They will be situated about 30 metres out from their goal line. This is where maybe we see Peter Larkai go off the back. It looks relatively solid there for the Canes. They will go off to Peter Umaga Jensen. Doesn't quite get his pass right to Unatu Nani Punivai, who has to receive it on the bounce. And John bet the house on the Canes. Says Adrian. And also, we have got there, keep scoring those tries, Crusaders, says Matthew. Ball's there for Roigard. Let's kick it up high again. Down towards the 22. Will Jordan doesn't quite cut it off, but Shafiaki is back. And the French B-side won't be a pushover. Exactly right. So New Zealand cannot go into those matches thinking that it's going to be easy. As O'Connor playing today, he scored a try, but now he's back off the field as he was only the injury replacement for Kamara, who has returned at half-time. And Crusaders are finally playing as a winning team, while the Hurricanes having an off day. I would say a little bit of both. The Canes haven't been terrible, I wouldn't say, in this one. That's not a straight throw. That won't help. Crusaders have been very strong in certain scenarios. Their rolling maul has looked dominant in this match. Also had some great support running and offloading, just keeping the ball alive. Kamara, I should say, kicks it high. Gives it off to Ruben Love. That is a great kick, but it will not go into touch. In fact, this one might roll dead. Keeps on going and just goes. Oh, that's a bit dirty. Oh, and Ruben Love's decided to tackle him as well. Will Jordan's now got him in the guillotine. It's all kicking off at the moment. I don't know what's got into Ruben Love there. He's pretty much tackled Will Jordan after the ball went dead, then decided to double leg him. And now he's staring him down. What's his problem? I mean, he lost his team 80 metres. Bit of a weird temper for absolutely no reason there from Ruben Love. And it was his own fault, because he kicked it dead. So yeah, goes dead. Then honestly, that could be a yellow card from Ruben Love. Comes flying through late. Will Jordan kind of pushes him to grab the ball. And then Ruben Love jumps in and double legs and then tries to take him down again. Like, I'm not sure what was going. He's trying to. I don't know if he had a smile on his face there or what the go was, but it's going to be a foul play penalty against the Hurricanes. Pressure, says David the Mod. Yeah, maybe a bit of frustration coming out. He's still smiling, Ruben Love. I don't know what happened there. I feel like he just kind of had a bit of a moment where he forgot where he was. And aren't they both All Blacks? What's with Ruben Love? Yeah, well, I don't know. Maybe, he's annoyed that Will Jordan might take a spot in that 15 jersey. I think Jordan's probably got it anyway. But, yeah, weird. Really weird moment. Now nicely taken by the Crusaders. And this will make it even worse. If the Crusaders, rather than having the scrum about 30 metres out, they've now got themselves the line out. The youngster versus the senior. But that's the thing, Will Jordan's not even that old, compared to Ruben Love. Nice stepping from Kamara. Jordan is better than live. Jordan is better than live at this moment, mate, says Hensel. And great to see some aggro bring it back, I say, says Studs Race. Now loose ball, picked up by Noah Hotham. And they will go back for the original penalty in favour of the Crusaders again. Oh, okay. Jordan is better than Love at this moment, mate. That makes more sense. I was very confused at what you meant. I thought maybe you were saying the highlights that he's had, in this game, look better in person or something. I wasn't too sure. Canes is off today. I'd say it's just that good today. A little bit of both. I'd say that both sides have had their fair share of moments. And actually some of the stats were relatively even, but the Crusaders have been more clinical and they've been getting their offloads right a lot more often. I think Crusaders are going to win. I want them to win. Will Jordan is in his prime, obviously. Yeah, he's still not that old. You know, he's still got plenty of good years in him, I would say, Will Jordan, as long as he can avoid the injuries. Now, spin in there was Ethan Blackadder. Crusaders still only 10 metres out from the line. The voice is already gone. We've still got another 18 hours of commentary today. Or, sorry, for the next day and a half. Oh, ball was once again juggling a little bit, but Hotham has done well. Now, Reese looking for the pick and go. Going to go around the side of the breakdown. Slightly isolating himself. Almost got him the turnover there. The Hurricanes loose forward trio. And to Mighty Williams, he'll be held up. Does become the goal line dropout. I think Ruben Love was making a challenge. Hey, Jordan, I'm going to try and get in your head. It kind of looked like big brother, little brother. It seemed like Ruben Love was trying to get something going in the fighting situation. And Will Jordan was kind of just standing there and then lying there because he got double-legged. But he just seemed like he wasn't that phased. In rugby years, Will Jordan is 30 and Ruben Love is 20. So here's a big run from Christian Leo Willie. I think half the people in this live stream are going for the Crusaders, says Abel. And I think the other half might be going, well, maybe not half going for the Canes. I know that there are a few Chiefs supporters who are splitting. Oh, that's going to be knocked on from Kenny Naholo. And they'll go back now for the scrum. I don't think people get how good Jordan is. He's like Ben Smith, make things look so easy. Things just seem so slow and easy to him, says Hensel. But Jordan's still young, mate. Says Hensel there. How many points coming from lineouts or poor Canes lineouts? Probably 14. If they got that first, no, they missed that first kick. So probably 12, I would say. We did see the James O'Connor try coming from a miss at lineout time. And that is, I mean, that's the stuff for Moore's department for the Canes. And then the other one was just a rolling maul, which, I mean, you could also argue that that's not really down to like the line out per se, but more so the maul defence for the Canes. Jordan is really good, says Abel. He's a very strong player, Will Jordan. Now, Noah Hotham. Going off to the left-hand side here, and Fiaki off to Severis. Passes one more. Roygaard's really trying hard to get across. Macca Springer with the inside ball. Jordan, I don't know whether or not he slapped that one back or it did go through his hands backwards. Now Hotham again on the short side. Yeah, Roygaard really looked like he was running pretty much in lead boots there. It's probably lucky that he didn't end up with some sort of injury. Reese pops it off to Christian Leo Willie. A little bit of a counter-ruck from a soft one more. Hotham pops it up to Blackadder. It's good defence at the moment from the Hurricanes. Almost a knock-on from Noah Hotham in the breakdown. Oh, joining the breakdown was Jamie Hanna. I'll dump Jordan and bull rush lol, says Mr. Orlin. And who has the ball? At the moment, the ball is in the hands of the Crusaders. They have had 7 phases in a row. Hotham goes back across to Scott Barry. He had that big barnstorming run earlier on. Since then, I don't think we've seen him touch the ball, really, other than just the quick little shuffle onwards. Are you doing Leinster or Bulls this weekend? Both is the plan. Even though the Bulls game, because it's on the Challenge Cup rather than the Champions, it means that I'll probably have to buy a match license for about 15 New Zealand dollars to be able to commentate it. But it is what it is, unfortunately. That's going to be close now for the Crusaders again. I still have time on your scoreboard, mate, says Enzo. Oh, yeah, it's still half time, isn't it? There we go. That'll be better. It's close to the try line. Looked like there might have been a knock on there. Back across to the right-hand side. Hotham goes to Levi and Moore. Wanted the offload. I think Crusaders asking for a deliberate knockdown. Kamara, short ball. Jordan wasn't expecting it. Go back for another penalty. Mighty Williams is an absolute beast when it comes to pick and go. Close to the try line, says Tanner. And also, we have got, come on, Crusaders get the ball out to Severis so he can score. And yeah, I think he actually kind of went searching for it there. Oh, okay, Severis just kicked that ball into touch. He pretty much said, our 10's not here, so I'll do it. Yeah, a really good pass out to Macca Springer. Wanted that offload. It was just a little bit too far behind Will Jordan initially. Moananu. Nicely claimed by Scott Barrett. This is going to be hard to stop straight away. All momentum rolling forward here for the Hurricanes. Moananu's got it down. That is a very strong finish. The man still had a lot of work to do. He's had one of his best games, I think, this year. Who has the ball? Moananu did, of the Crusaders, but he scored the try. 2 for him, 4 in the season. 2 tonight. It's just really well set. And then from there, the Hurricanes were always on the back foot. Adam should have sent the house, says Adrian. And also, come on, Will Jordan is okay, says Ruth. And yeah, has to spin and then find a way, still rolling over. Fella was on the phone in the stands, obviously saying, can you see me on TV? Who has the ball? We've got a stoppage now. So pretty much once a try happens, we wait for the conversion. Kamara had the ball, but he wasn't touching it. So theoretically, at that very moment, no one had the ball other than Kamara's tee, which if you count that as an object, some people may now identify as a tee, in which case the tee had the ball. The two needs to check that try, or the TMO. I assume that is from Kiwi Rob. Dan just found out Bulls game not on TVNZ. No, it's not. And it's a big shame. And it's an expensive shame too, because the only way to watch it is through a VPN, set yourself overseas, and then watch it through the Challenge Cup website. Yeah, who scores? Moananu. For the 5th time, he's managed to, he scored the 2nd try of the match. You can do this, Gaines, let's go, says John. We have got their Victorian bitter is what I'm drinking, sis. Our Africa's coming back, says Mr. Orlin. Now thrown in by a Safwa Moore. Roy Guard goes across there to Duplessis Karefi. Hit to Umanga Jensen. Off to the left-hand side again. Currently sitting about 40 metres out from the line. Nice inside ball from Balin Sullivan off to Peter Umanga. Jensen starts pumping the legs. Oh, and the penalty goes the way of the Crusaders. Yeah, but Crusaders or Hurricanes? It was Crusaders. Moananu, Crusaders starting hooker. Who are you going for? I'm neutral in this match, although I do have to say the Crusaders have looked a lot better than the Canes in this one. I was waiting for the Hurricanes to find their stride, and they haven't really done that yet. They did score first, but the Crusaders since then have scored 5 tries. And we have got their nice defensive play from the Crusaders. Yeah, they've just been really tactical with who's committing to those breakdowns. See it there, it was the tackle from Kamara, and then straight in there, turnover came. And we have got their nice defensive play. And also, what do you think about the midfield Highlanders team for tomorrow? Should still be more than enough for the win. So they have got Timothy Tavatavanaawai back in the middle, I do see. It looks like a few changes being made here for the Hurricanes. Tucker's on. Basilio Tossi is also on. Pauri Rakiti Stones and Raymond Tupu. 50th game for Pauri Rakiti Stones. Blackadder goes across to Levi Amua. This is not the game I was hoping for. An interesting one nonetheless. Says David the model. The ball was out, so he did actually have to play it. That one, Noah Hotham gets back up to his feet. Just to make a few metres. Next game that we are doing after this one, ladies and gents, will be the match between the Waratahs and the Chiefs. That one will be kicking off at 9:35 PM New Zealand time. Ball is out. Noah Hotham being told to use it. Off his right boot, almost charged down by Caleb Delaney. Nicely taken by Ruben Love. Goes for the grubber in behind. Well cleaned up by Noah Hotham. And Canes for tonight. Says Mr. Orlin. Fletcher Null. Find his way through, but isn't able to do so. It's competitive in the breakdowns at least as well. We've seen quite a bit of that counter rucking. I know Crusader says Abel. That's going to be nicely taken by the youngster Callum Harkin. He's made his way onto the park for Riley Hohepa. Nicely taken by Macca. Springing now Will Jordan. Looking for the 50-22. Hurricanes getting back to retreat. Here comes Ruben Love's kick off the side of the boot. Oh, And Will Jordan. Ruben Love getting it a bit off the side of the boot. And Will Jordan gave it a big clap towards them. As if to say, you didn't get that one as well as you would have liked. Team, sorry I'm late. Go to the Crusaders. What's the schedule radio for tomorrow? I assume that is. So we have got first match will be Blues versus Moana Pacifica. Then Highlanders versus Fijian Drawer. Then Reds versus Brumbies. Then Bulls versus Edinburgh. Then Munster versus Bordeaux. Whereas O'Connor, he was on the field earlier, scored himself a try, and then got taken back out off the field, because Kamara made his way back on. So he's already been out there, though. Moananu, that's how you pronounce his name, says Daryl. Yeah, sometimes I get the na in the wrong place and end up just sounding like I'm singing a bit of Hey Jude with the na. Yep. Handling errors. We've seen 5 from these two sides. Hurricanes sitting with 3, Crusaders sitting with 2, but 7 turnovers conceded from the Crusaders at 8 penalties against the Hurricanes compared to the 3 against the Crusaders. Bro Jordan is so good, eh? Says Abel. And Blues struggled against the Canes last week. Still disgusting game. Should have lost Blues. Says Blues Nate. Now, quick tap taken by Cam Roygar, but wasn't on the mark. Cheers. And you're covering. We're covering all those games. That's the schedule for what we're doing. It's going to be kicked high from Cam Roygar. Through the hands of Will Jordan. Just couldn't quite get back to it. Bit of a swirling wind at Sky Stadium in that one. Just go into touch. Will Jordan is the man, says Matthew, on 1 win last week. 2 wins to make it 3 after next week, says Mr. Orlin. Canes are better than Blues, says Abel. Now Braden Yossi will make his way onto the field. We're going to see Raymond Tupu with his first line-out throw. Already a Safwa Moores has been heavily contested. And that's going to be overthrown again. The Hurricanes just giving up easy position a little bit too often, Moana. No, now I've messed it up again because I overthought it. Rather than just saying it, Noah Hotham. Now Reese. I'm back across to Antonio Shalfoon, who has made his way off the bench. There's actually some interesting matchups here now that I think about it, says Tanner. And Jordan trying to go through. Peter Lakai. Tackles him. Hasn't really had a huge amount of ball in hand today, Peter Lakai. In fact, that whole forward or loose forward trio for the Hurricanes haven't. Cullen Grace. Otham back across to the right-hand side to Scott Barrett. Runs it straight at Duplessis Karifi. As the ball, Crusaders or the Canes. So at the moment, from the players that I'm saying, Crusaders. Now Noah Hotham. Looks like a bit of a counter-ruck coming here from Cam Roygar, which does now mean that the Hurricanes have managed to get the ball back. Let's get a much-needed try. Canes get the ball to Punivai, says John. Okay, Boss, thanks. Great commentary. Oh, great job, Canterbury. Convincing tonight we are. Says Alan. Going back for the knock-on again. I think Will Jordan is going to remain very important for a while, says NZ Riot. All right, referee's trying not to have it slowed down at all by the two sides. He's saying already get lined up and get ready to go. Looks like there might be a little bit of an injury in the middle of the field, but he's saying it's not relevant to what's going on. Right. So, James Dolman's just pretty much said, we've got a 30-second timer on your scrums for both of these sides. So, pretty much, if you take longer than the 30 seconds, I don't know whether it can be a free kick or anything like that, but James Dolman pretty much said you've got a player down. If he's injured, sub him. If he's not injured, play on. So, that's what they are going to be doing. Come on, the Crusaders, says Abel. Come on, Crusaders, we need Gurdon to score, or Jordan. Tom Christie makes his way on. That is for Cullen Grace, who was down with the injury with a 30-second scrum timer. It's an interesting one. We haven't actually seen one like that in a while. So pretty much he got subbed on, had to run the full width of the field just to not be able to get to the scrum in time. So they had to scrummage with only 7 men. Yeah, one of the newer rules has been brought in recently. Who has the ball? Who, says Abel. I mean, the Crusaders did have it, once again, from the players that I was mentioning, which I assume you know since you're going for the Crusaders. You know who's in the side. All a little bit of a miscommunication there. Will Jordan kicks it in behind, who does play for the Crusaders, fun fact, off to Delaney, was sitting 40 metres out from his own line. A little bit of a counter-up coming from the Crusaders, and I believe they managed to take that one back. Ruben Love coming in through the side, trying to make the clean out on Macca Springer, who he's now once again trying to... Why is he wrestling with everyone, Ruben Love? Must be getting excited for the UFC event this weekend. He wants on the card. Going off to the right-hand side to Tom Christie. Who are you going for once again? We are impartial in this one. Jay Fiaki. I'm starting to think you're listening on mute, Abel. Now it's going to be kicked in behind. Fiaki can't quite get the bounce of the ball. Goes off to Royard. And now counter-ruck coming from the Crusaders. That was playing the ball on the ground from Riley Hohepa. Probably very lucky not to get penalised. In fact, that time it was Brad Shields. How has Moananu scored me 70 points, yet Jordan has 23? I think it's just, the tries. The big difference maker, I guess. We have their best player in the number 6 jersey game. It depends, because, Yossi's normally pretty strong at 6, but I consider him still more of an 8. I'd say that Cullen Grace, he's had some pretty strong moments in that number 6 jersey throughout this season already. But yeah, a lot of the guys who are 6s aren't playing 6 at the moment. And it's a little bit the same with some of the positions in the back line, that there are guys a little bit reshuffled. That's going to be knocked on by Sever Reese after a massive shot gets put on him. Offload from Callum Harkins to a penalty advantage in favour of the Hurricanes. Here comes Peter Larkey, another man that can play 6. Balin Sullivan drops it off to Roygaard. Pins his ears back, tries to find a way through. Pick and go from Fehe Finian-Norfo. They want a quick ball. It's going to be a loose one, but they have managed to clean it up. Ruben Love passes it across to Peter Umaga. Jensen Brad Shields. Oh, what's he done there? He looked like he sold the dummy as if he was going to be passing it, and then he accidentally passed it away. Who are you going for? Who? I am impartial, Abel. Do you know? I feel like I have to translate or at least describe the word impartial so that you're able to get the hang of it. But there's a bit of push and shove. Finianofo and George Bauer having a bit of a hug. But I think this is just frustration from the Canes. The fact that they've had quite a few opportunities, and every time, with the exception of that very first one from Peter Umaga Jensen, they have blundered the opportunity to be able to score. But now, it's going to be a line out here for the Hurricanes. It is still only 5 metres out from the line, so a good attacking chance to be able to get themselves a try. Right, sounds like Noah Hotham is about to be changed. And same with Moananu. So Matt Mould, I think they've just said, will make his way on. But yeah, Moananu, we mentioned at the start that he could be a bolter. I think if he plays a few more games like this, he's going to get the chance. Have a kick at my friend. You'll be back for more. You're welcome. Says Blues Nate. And position is everything, says Ruth. And also come on the cane, says John. And there as well. And this is going to be a very important position here for the Hurricanes. Going short side. Tupu Tupu gets only a couple metres out. I think the Crusaders are going to hold him up. It's over the try line. No, there's a new penalty advantage though in favour of the Crusaders. Karifi was searching for it. They've got it into touch. And it is going to be the penalty in favour of the Hurricanes. Crusaders got this. Cheers, mate. Rich does have a draw shirt he got last year, so maybe a closet drawer fan, says Jason. It was a gift to me, though, that Fijian draw shirt. But, yeah, so I wouldn't base that bit of knowledge off anything. We all know exactly how good Leinster are after their encounter with Glasgow later. I mean, we'll also know how good Glasgow are. Like, let's not beat around the bush. Glasgow won the URC last year. They're a top side. That's a try for the Hurricanes. They've decided to take it quickly, and Peter Larkai is the man who has bulldozed over their first try since about the 7th minute of the contest. Get a t-shirt with impartial printed on it, Hamish. And maybe if the finance minister was coach, she could be the Canes, could buy the Canes 3 tries. I'm not a fan of teams making replacements to slow opponents' lineouts. And Peter Larkai. We have good there. Why does the Crusaders got another country's big name or name in big writing right in the middle of their jersey? Says distorted. What have they got? They've got I Am Hope, don't they? What else have they got in terms of those sponsors? I've got to wait for them to show it at the moment. Currently, they are showing Peter Larkai, the man who did just score that try. Yes, finally, says John. It's the comeback on. 2 converted tries. We could actually see my golden point that I predicted. Yes, correct. We will know later how good Glasgow are. Methinks not good enough, says Robert. I just like the stream because I'm cool, says Studs Race. Sounds like Kenny Naholo's actually gone off for a HIA here. 15 minutes remaining in this contest. Now, if anyone knows a thing or two about scoring during golden point time, it would be Pasilio Tossi last year getting himself the try up against the Reds after the 80 minutes. Well, Jordan kicking this one downfield. The Crusaders are killing it, says NZ Guy. Now kick downfield from Ruben Love. He's tried a few of those deeper ones in this match, and I think 2 of them have gone dead so far. Now Kamara, very nice kick. Gets it down into the half of the Hurricanes. Not happy with where the touch judge has got the flag, but it is still inside of the territory of the opposition, so I think a lot of people would still take it. Leinster to win by 15 or more, says Robert. What the hell are the Crusaders? Oh no, I read that one, didn't I? And depends, Studs, you watching the game? Says Mr. Orlin. Off to the right-hand side, Tom Christie trying to find his way through. Recently replaced Cullen Grace. How rubbish is the game's lineouts? It's been a real concern, and don't get me wrong, Asafwa Moore was one of those guys that a lot of people were very high on heading into the season. But, I don't know whether or not you can blame him solely for the lineout, but he's missing the jumper a lot in this match, and it makes you wonder. And it's also been this whole season, in fact. It's going to be the penalty, though, going the way of the Hurricanes. The breakdown, no clear release. And Canes have looked better in the past 10 minutes. Says Ellen. And Rico Smokes, Colby at Eden Park, 50-plus defence. Says Shane. Now 13 minutes left on the clock. The Hurricanes, they need points. Oh, that wasn't the best kick there from Callum Harkin. It looked like he was just making sure that it did go out. But now line out. If they can get it right, could be a very big opportunity. Raymond Tupu. I think that since Brad Shields has come on, there would be a little bit more stability. That's going to be dragged down by the Crusaders. Ball is on the side of the Canes here. Ireland plus Neighbour plus Arge plus Geordie Barrett equals Leinster. Says Robert. I guess so, yeah. They've got a lot of Irish players in there. I feel like you could use that same system with pretty much any team. You just say pretty much who the coaches, who the bulk of the players are, and who their international imports are. And then you're good. Now, a nice run from Natu Nane Punevai. Looks for the offload. Does get it to Callum Harkin. Ball on the outside to Ruben Love versus Will Jordan. Gets it on the inside to Fihi Finianofo. Oh, there was a nice little tap there between Jordan and Love. It's as if maybe they've gotten over the squander from earlier. Now 5 metres out from the line. Great pass from Roygaard. Slings it across to Natu Nane Punivai. He was not expecting that ball. Brad Shields breaks through, the veteran. And only 2 metres out from the line now. Shalfoon tried to get over and get that turnover. Rakiti Stones. Here's Peter Larkai. 1 metre short, in fact. It was lost forward. They will go back for the penalty advantage. It's like when the North talk about O'Driscoll, says Drape. Any team doesn't have Naneba, so that's why I said that you take the coach and you put it in. So the likes of, for Glasgow, you could say Scotland plus, I've forgotten their head coach's name. I think he's leaving soon though. And then you just pick their internationals. I've got on the side and boom. Formula for victory. Currently 11 minutes remaining. 8 penalties against the Canes. 7 against the Crusaders. So I believe they've given away the last 4. Azure gets still be coaching Wales. Oh, yellow card for Ethan Blackadder. No warning whatsoever. They've said it was cynical enough though for Blackadder to get yellow carded. This is a big moment in the game now because he will only be able to return with about 1 minute 30 remaining on the clock at best. So they've just said there it was actually a team yellow card rather than an Ethan Blackadder specifically. Dirty cheating, fellows, says Tony. And Tony, I have had a bit of a think about it. And probably not the 100th, just because I feel like I said last week, that one's all yours and Mark's. But at some stage, I'll have to book a flight up to Auckland, I would say. I don't know when, just whenever you'll have me, I guess. Might have to pop up for a look. Probably midweek, I would say, would work the best. Leinster has the formula right now. Nice run forward from Peter Lakai. Now Roigard pops it up to Brad Shields. Still only about 3 metres out from the line. Ever since he made his way onto the field, it has actually made quite the difference for the Hurricanes side. Now close to the line for Basilio Tossi. Peter Lakai, what a terrible pass that was. But Pauli Dakity Stones has knocked it backwards. Now Roigard off to Brad Shields. Oh, that seems like an excessive clean out from the Crusaders. Lakai, 5 metres from the line, spins and almost gets in. It's been some good clean outs though from the Canes too. Selling a dummy from Balin Sullivan, runs straight at Levi Moore. I think Roigard will be a mile off, going for a little snipe here. Oh, we'll see Leinster tonight, friend. Says Robert. Yeah, I'm not denying Leinster will probably beat Glasgow because they have got that home field advantage. I'm just saying that, Glasgow are a good side. I was Cantabs the sweary bit. I just realised, I did actually stop there, wasn't it? I think it's because normally people change the A to a U and then you've got a little bit of a situation. Is this another yellow card for the Crusaders? It might be. Or at least it's going to be another warning here. Oh no, what's the number? That's never good. Okay, Will N19. Will Jordan, that is because he is the standing captain. And Antonio Shalfoon, to be fair, he's probably been lucky not to get a yellow before then. He's had a couple slightly dirty ones just out from the line. But now the Hurricanes have got a 2-man advantage. Oh yeah, good there, let's go. 2 cents gets distracted and Hamish is annoyed. Or it's announced, I assume, that is coming to a cinema near you. There's Mr. All-In. Cheating sheep, fellows, says Tony there too. But now 13 on the field. Another forward missing from the Crusaders. This scrum could be in a little bit of trouble. They need Rico at wing, says username. Still another 9.5 minutes remaining. Wake me up, Wellington, says Shane. Yeah, this is the chance. 2 converted tries. And we get a golden point game. If it somehow becomes a golden point game, by the way, if we did have that scenario, or Roigard going for the pick and go off the side, then we would somehow have gotten a prediction correct, which would be quite impressive. Now Basilio Tossi, rush defence from Kamara, offloads to Will Tucker, only just out from the line. George Bauer almost got the turnover. That's how good. That's why I say we will see how good Leinster are. Home field plays less part of knockout rugby, so says Rassi. Says Robert. Yeah, though, the URC-wise, we've seen it. The only side that found that out, I guess, in terms of that scenario was actually the Bulls in the final up against Glasgow, wasn't it? Now Roigard going off to the left-hand side. Duplessis Crefi offloads it up to Roigard. They just can't get through at the moment. Basilio Tossi, though, almost able to bulldoze through Now Royard offloads up to Peter Larkai. That is very close to the try line again. If they can shift this one out wide, they can score a try. Fihi Nofo needs to start shouting because they're going for the pick and goes round the side. He is wide open with no one marking him, and it's held up. Poor decision from the Hurricanes. Lucky for them, though. I think they already had the penalty advantage. However, there, come on. Show us what you made of, said Studs Rays. And they've gone quickly now. Duplessis, Karefi again defended well by this Crusaders team. They just aren't breaking any advantage. They did luckily have one. I don't know whether or not they knew that at the time, though. Or else I would have thought they would have tried shoving it out wide. But perhaps they are looking at it as they need conversions. Royard now popping it across. That's a brilliant pass to Peter Umaga Jensen. And they score it between the posts to put them back to only 9 points down. Spread it, says Mr. All in. An awesome defence, Crusaders. Yeah, it was only a matter of time till 13 were going to concede. It's gone over there for the conversion as well. Now making the score 24 points to 31. Still 7 minutes remaining. About 6 minutes of that. The Crusaders are still going to be playing with 13 men on the field. Hurricanes. Is the golden point on, ladies and gents. Let's go the Canes when the Crusaders win rugby losers, says Tony. In there as well. Crowd are not too happy about it. They feel like there's a bit of time wasting going on. Royard will make his way off. Eritara Inari will make his way on. And Kershaw Sykes Martin, he's made his way on for Fletcher Null. There's the other change that we have just seen made. This is going to be quite the finish. By the looks of it, nicely taken by Will Tucker. That's played him in the air from Macca Springer. A really silly penalty to give away. There was no reason to grab him. Will Tucker yelling at him. Not sure why. A great commentary game, which says Chris and Jenny. Thank you very much. And Golden Point, let's get it, says Blues Nate. I see any other doing better to cover him on the bench, says Mr. Wallen. Okay, there, let's go. I'm watering my garden and feeding cats in between. I'm making it clear I really dislike the Crusaders, says Tony. I think it's slightly obvious. I'd say about a 2 out of 10 in terms of your hatred towards them. In fact, we'll say it's a 10 because I know that you could probably one-up it if you had to. But nice rolling ball here for the Hurricanes. It has been sacked. Crusaders losing their footing. I think that was partially because Basilio Tossi decided to just flop over their side of the breakdown. Now sitting 50 metres out from the line, Basilio Tossi and Pauri Rakadi Stones. 2 replacement props. Tupu Tupu is in that 16 jersey, so I believe all the changes in that 4-pack have been made. Now Umaga Jensen goes off to Callum Harkin. That was risky, very risky, and he's given the ball away. Now Will Jordan goes off to Macca Springer. In fact, it's Kamara. He's just gone for a little dink in behind. Sits up a Ruben Love around the halfway line. Duplessis Karefi. Now goes in behind to Fihi. Fina Norfo curls just into touch. Bit too much juice on it. It would have been very interesting if that ball had stayed in the field of play. Really silly stuff. Cruz seem to have forgotten the refs watching them. However, I'm definitely not disappointed with the Crusaders, says Ruth. And also passing back up, says Shane. But now another chance here for the Crusaders. With the youngster off the bench here, Matt Moulds. Hello, Tony, says Blues Nate. Now going to be thrown in by Moulds. Not contested there by the Hurricanes. I think that is because they knew that theoretically Crusaders more than likely would kick their ball into touch. That's what they've done. Right, we've got 4.5 minutes remaining now, ladies and gents. The next game that we are covering will be taking place in around 40 or so minutes time. In fact, a little bit further in the future, about 45 minutes. And that will be the one between the Waratahs and the Chiefs. Hello, says Abel. Hello, Abel. Now, 4.5 minutes remaining. Alan Boom, very quick try. Our last comment on this matter, a prediction, disregard last 2 years. No neighbour, 2 cups, Leinster, 1 cup Bulls. A prediction, wait, What have the Bulls got to do with it? They're in the Challenge Cup. They're playing up against Edinburgh. Oh, it's going to be knocked on by Duplessis Karefi. Oh, that's an interesting comment from James Dolman. So Duplessis Karefi said it hit my knee. The referee just said, I might have been wrong there. But then surely does he say my bad Hurricane scrum? Yeah, never even got close to his hand there, Duplessis Karefi. But if a referee says I might have got that wrong and then is proven wrong, should the decision still be withheld? That was off the thigh, says Bleshin. I feel like even if the Hurricanes somehow were to win, they aren't exactly a good team this season, says NZ Riot. Blues Nate says Tony in there as well. Ball's going to be fed in. Drummond goes back across to the short side. Here's James O'Connor. Macca Springer going for the kick in behind. He's gone out on the full. So they get, I guess, a little bit of redemption in a certain extent. It was a mistake from Springer, but like I said, it should have been Hurricanes ball anyway. 2 cups, Leinster, URC, and Champions. 1 cup, Bulls Challenge Cup. 1 cup, Bulls Challenge Cup. So you're backing the Bulls to win the Challenge Cup, right? And then Leinster to win the 2. That's going to be the penalty now to the Crusaders with 2.5 minutes remaining here. Okay, Brad Shields is just asking the referee, how am I supposed to move when he's holding me on the ground? How many tries has Jordan scored? None at all. And this contest, and come on, Cruz, you can do it. Blackadder not far away. Steers studs race. Yeah, he's only got another minute remaining of that yellow card time. And Crusaders start running it. What? Says Abel. Yeah, Will Jordan has not scored a try. None. None whatsoever. Will Jordan, normally known for scoring tries, hasn't got one today. If the Canes are a bad team to support tonight, says Sam. Now chance here for Matt Moulds. Oh, it was almost contested by Delaney. Another rolling maul here for the Crusaders, in which they have been pretty strong with. It's Leinster to win 2 cups. That's good, says Mr. All-In. Now Drummond goes back across to James O'Connor. Tackled by Duplessis Karefi. 90 seconds remaining. I don't know whether or not this is the best tactic at the moment. The Crusaders, it seems like they are just going to be willing to go phase after phase here to use up the rest of the time, but there's still a lot. 90 seconds can feel like an eternity when you've got your hands on the ball and you're just trying to go time after time with tackles. I think it's super you can be tested and Bulls to win the Challenge Cup. Says Robert. He's going to take a little rest here until the Chiefs vs Waratahs, says Tanner. How many players do the Crusaders have on the field? At the moment, 13. Once we have a stoppage, Blackadder will be back, although more than likely the stoppage that we would see would be full time. And at the moment, they have still got a minute to work with. Oh, Hurricanes were not on their feet there. Still close to the sideline. The Crusaders don't want to throw this ball inwards, because if they were to do so, once again, they're just going for, it's the smart tactic. That is on the ball, though, for the Hurricanes, and they win the penalty. I mentioned about it. 90 seconds is an extremely long time to just go pick and go, pick and go, pick and go. And they lasted about maybe 60 of those 90. And Karefi turnover, says Blues Nate. Yep, the turnover came. And now the Hurricanes kicking it towards the corner. This one will be about maybe 15 metres out, maybe a bit further. But the Crusaders should now be back to 15 on the field. And come on, Crusaders line out, stand up with ours. Blackadder. Blackadder now making his way back on. A line out chance for Raymond Tupu. If the Crusaders get this ball, it will be the end of the game. Well claimed by Brad Shields. A fantastic take. And there's a penalty advantage for the Hurricanes. I think golden point is on, ladies and gents. Umaga Jensen still playing under the penalty advantage. Sounded like they were going to get themselves another one. We have got there, Karefi hit my knee. Sounds like a rap song, says Ruth. Oh, it's going to be passing a touch. So we will go back for the original penalty now. That is for collapsing the rolling maul. This is going to be a good chance to get only 5 metres out, grind it down the middle. If it's golden point, I'll never mock that ringer. He says TH. Now Ruben Love is close to 5 metres out. It's going to be about 7 or 8. But the thing is, even if the Hurricanes score, they still need to get the conversion. So there's plenty of pressure on at the moment. The Crusaders, they defended brilliantly with 13 on the field. Can they do the same with the 15 yet again? Let's go, boys, let's go, says Roland. Now thrown into the front, nicely taken by Peter Larkai, met by the Crusaders. Now the Hurricanes trying to get this rolling maul going. They've been told to use it once. Tupu. They might have to get rid of this one. I think he's hung on to that for a little bit too long, and there's going to be the knock-on. Poor decision from the Hurricanes. They're saying it was slapped down, but it's gone back onto the side of the Crusaders, and they should be able to just put this ball into touch. And just half a phase or half a second too long, he was told to use it. He decided to go for it anyway, and they lost the ball. 31-24, the full time score. James Dolman. Right. It's not cynical. It's slapped back. Thank you, Hamish. My anal friend, says Robert. It's quite a statement, Robert. I'm not sure how the lady in your profile picture would feel about you having other male anal friends, as you say. And what a game, says Jan Lubrand. And cheers, Hammy, says Mr. All In, and hopeless ending by the Canes. Yeah, they had their chance. All they needed to do was just get that ball out, shift it, because that's the thing. The kick would have been hard if they were next to the sideline there. Yes, well, thank you, says Shane. And next game, Hamish, next game will be the Waratahs versus the Chiefs. And that will be taking place at around 45 minutes' time when that one will be kicking off. And G. Hamish, see you another time, says Studs Race. And Chivalrous says Ruslin. And there as well. But yeah, they were told to use it. They didn't use it. And it was always going to be in that situation of the man coming through the middle for the Crusaders was going to get a crack at that ball. As soon as that use it call came, Iritada Inari was trying to rip it away, but Tupu decided he wanted to hang on to it that little bit more. So once you get into that scenario, you're just always taking the risk. But I think Moananu has got himself the man of the match by the looks of it here. 2 tries, 4 carries, 39 metres made, but he also did quite a bit outside of that, winning the ball in the breakdown, making tackles, defending the line, says Ruth. And also there, Canes choke when it's time to score a try, says Vic Mars. It's always those small moments, says Tanner. Yeah, if they had scored that and converted, I would have been very happy with going to golden point, just because, that was quite close to our prediction coming true. But once again, we will get it wrong in that regard. But nonetheless, I do thank you all very much for tuning in. If you did enjoy, of course, be sure to leave a like and subscribe to the channel. Like I said, we are going to be back for the next match that's taking place between the Waratahs and also the Chiefs. But yeah, we will see you all for the next one.